Hey, man, he was in my face.
Up in your face.
It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Vroom, vroom, and welcome to Fast Friends, presented by the NBA. That's Game. We're back to continue our summer podcast series of breaking down every film from the Fast and Furious franchise, scene by scene, car by car. Today's gem, it's the 6th movie in the franchise, Fast and Furious 6. Though I've also seen it called Fast 6 in some places, also seen it called Furious 6 in other places, but anyway, it's Fast and Furious 6. I'm still J.E. Skeets, here with our FF expert, Trey Kirby. What's up, TK?
Hey-o!
Hey, yo! And of course, we got our super producer, who's, I think, enjoying this weird series we decided to do throughout the summer. It's JD.
Hello, I am enjoying it.
Yeah, I didn't want to put words into your mouth, but, peel back the curtain. Right before recording, JD was like, we're just over halfway through this thing.
Whoa, baby.
Oh, yeah. Man, there's a lot still to go, amazingly. But we are at Fast and Furious 6, so let's focus on that. It was released in May 2013. Budget? Anywhere between $160 million and $260 million. What? Wait, we don't have a more detailed breakdown of how much this movie cost? $100 million difference? Anyway, 160, 260 million, somewhere in there. Anyway, box office did pretty good. 788 million worldwide. Yeah, that's pretty sure that's the highest to date here as we make our way through these. The skinny Hobbs, that's The Rock, remember him? Has Dom, that's Vin Diesel, and Brian, Paul Walker, reassemble their crew to take down a team of mercenaries. Dom unexpectedly gets sidetracked with facing his presumed deceased girl, Letty, Sweaty Letty, we call her here on the show. Yeah, we'll get to all of this. Stars, of course, Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, The Rock. I mean, I don't even need to say this anymore. Everybody's in this again. Directed once again by Justin Lin. This is the last time here on his little run that he's going to direct these movies with FF6. We always start the pod here on Fast Friends by asking our expert, TK, what he remembers. Take us back to 2013. You were hyped about Fast 5. You were back in theaters watching that. What about this one?
2013, Skeets. This was the first time since Fast 1 that I felt my life echoed in a Fast and Furious movie. Back in 2001 for the first one, it was just all about doing burnouts afterwards. I just wanted to drive my car fast. But for Fast 6, I felt like I pulled an F&F in a new country with a new cast. It was me, Nate, and Steesh seeing this in Toronto, and I'm pretty sure it was at the Cineplex at Yonge and Dundas, but it could have been at Scotiabank on King Street. I know we saw Jack Reacher there, but did we see Fast 6 there? I think it was up at Yonge and Dundas.
Okay.
It was a daytime viewing. We hit the NOS beforehand, which made some of the extreme parts extra funny, but a great bonding moment. I watched Fast and Furious originally with my high school friends. It was a big part of my college friends' life and our relationships. Now watching it with some new friends in a new city, I'm like Dom Toretto out here. My family just keeps getting bigger.
It's incredible. Oh, wow. Yeah, you had recently... I guess you'd been there a little bit. Yeah, up in Toronto. We weren't staying long after that. We were leaving soon after that to come down here to Atlanta. Okay. JD, did you see this one in theaters, if you can remember, or is this a first watch for you?
Definitely not in the theaters. I haven't seen any of these in the theater. I've definitely seen... I did see this one.
Okay.
But just on probably HBO or something like that.
We usually go scene by scene, and we're going to, but I'm actually calling an audible here and just asking a question to you, JD, right away. What is the most unbelievably stupid fucking stunt in this movie? Just tell me right now. We'll eventually get to it throughout the movie, but which of the many stunts in this movie did you go, come the fuck? Are you kidding me? Which one did it to you?
I mean, there are so many. It's an embarrassment of riches of hilariously implausible stunts. I mean, it's between The Rock jumping on the race car, the ramp car, right?
Yeah.
And then getting flipped off of it, going through the arm thing that comes down in a parking lot, and then rolling perfectly and landing just like, and getting pop shots off with his 44 or whatever. I mean, that one made me LOL. Like, I was just like, what? Come on, So it's between that and Vin Diesel catching Letty midair as she's launched from the tank. And then, lands, luckily that car was there to break his fall. I mean, I gotta go with The Rock because it did make me laugh out loud and go, but it was amazing. I loved it. I was just like, yes, this is awesome. The other one was, it was like the climax. I thought the movie was over.
Well, the early climax,
yeah. For sure. We got a second one later on. Don't you worry. You thought it was cool, a tank coming out of a truck. Well, wait till you see a car come out of a plane later. They're both in the same movie.
The other contender I would have for a hilarious moment is late in the movie. There's a fight and Dom does like a flying headbutt.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It looks like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. The man has a 48-inch vertical, and it's just like all Vin Diesel's face coming at the screen. Oh man, those three scenes, like, that makes the movie to me, because like you're saying, JD, at this point, realism is out the window.
Oh
We're just going for the biggest stunts we can possibly pull, and they all come off hilarious.
Yeah, I have to go with the Dom timing it perfectly to catch Letty, who's been, catapulted off a tank, and then landing on a car windshield like it was like a bouncy castle, to the point where they actually like circle back to it, and Letty says, "How did you know that car was going to be there?" And like, your back isn't broken. You didn't go through the windshield. Let alone flying and then catching her. That was insane.
And his T-shirt is pristine.
Yeah.
Like no rips, not a scuff on it. Like, I mean, even Superman, when he's bouncing bullets off, there's some marks, or at least something, like. But nothing. Dom Toretto, he is Superman at this point. He literally flies. Also, how did he know that she was going to be launched from the tank? Like, just speculation?
Yeah, sensed her momentum shifting on the tank and the crash about to happen. Yeah. No, it's wild. And then back to the one you said with The Rock. That one is funny where, he incredibly lands on the vehicle or Jeep or whatever the heck it is, or jumping from an insane height. That's okay, but then gets taken out by the, what did you call it? Like the parking...
the arm, whatever
yeah,
that
the parking
is.
Arm. Yeah. Going back to Toronto, that was like Matt Austin when he got taken out by a parking arm. Had a concussion.
That's right.
From it. Is that my building? Tried to beat it. I don't know why he was trying to beat it. He was on a bike, like a bicycle, not a motorbike. And... that thing clocked him in the head. He wasn't doing that well that day.
My read on The Rock was that he didn't want a concussion, so he leapt over it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it was
right.
on purpose, but still, just...
So what do you mean? Are you saying Matt Austin, who we had on for Fast 5, is actually somehow part of the Fastiverse? Like, he's canon? The Rock Hobbs is like, oh, I better watch out for this parking arm because Matty O was taken out concussed? Wow.
Yeah, I don't want to be asleep for the rest of this movie, so...
Better jump. Okay.
That's right.
All right. Let's get into it then, scene by scene here. It's a long movie. I know the last podcast we did with Matty O went extremely long. We were setting records with that one. So I'll try my best to keep us going. You guys, of course, are jumping in whenever you want. And I'll bring up questions as we move through this. So this movie starts following the team's successful heist in Brazil. This is my favorite part of these movies, how they just like keep bleeding from one movie into the other. I sort of actually enjoy that. And we then get this again at the end of this movie with Han and going, sort of back in time, but, with the whole Tokyo Drift. Anyway, Dom and his professional criminal crew, they fled after the heist. We knew that. Around the world, they're living fine. Everybody's doing pretty good. Dom lives with former Brazilian cop Alina.
Elena, yeah.
Don't see a whole lot from her in this movie, but she's there. So he's with her. His sister, Dom's sister Mia, lives with Brian, and their new son that comes very early in this movie, Jack. So they had a baby. Awesome. We knew they were pregnant. That makes all sense. Giselle and Han, their romance is budding. They're together. And then Roman Pierce and Tej Parker, who are Tyrese and Ludacris, if you keep track here, they're living in luxury too. They're doing their own thing. Roman, I think, is spending his money a lot more than Tej is. Tej is doing the old, taking money to make more money, it looks like. But he's also, he's like Robin Hood too, with what he's doing with it, giving back to the people. So yeah, we get into this. We get these like, I thought were pretty cool credits montage of the first 5 movies. There was even a quick Vince in there if you saw him, though he's gone. What'd you think of the start, Trey? You get us going with this one. All of that, where they are in the world, the credits, the whole start of this movie.
Well, I love it when they go right into a race, and Skeets, I mentioned it recently. Did you see Brian's black Vans? One of the first things you see on screen in this. You see his feet before you see any other part of his body in every one of these movies, I think. I thought that was pretty funny. I also do like the fast montage, like you mentioned. They've got basically everything in there. They've got a shot of Dom coming out from underneath a car from Los Bandoleros. They had Stosniak in there. I was like, why in the world would they put this guy in there? That's a foreshadowing for later, which I thought was hilarious. And I also like the idea that, Brian knows Mia is pregnant. They've been living, on the run together for a while now, though as we find out very soon after, this is only a week after the events of Fast 5.
Yeah.
To me, not the right time to be going on a street race.
No.
It seems like Mia may be in labor while he's out there trying to blow off some steam. I remember when, we were going through the birth of our children and Laura was in the hospital. She sent me out to get some Jimmy John's. Maybe it's a similar sort of thing. Hey, Brian, why don't you and Dom just go race through the mountains real quick there? But he makes it back just in time and takes the win over Dom as well. And they don't really talk about that at all. There's been a lot of chatter in this movie about Brian, or in this franchise, about Brian never being able to beat Dom in a street race. He clearly beats him here. And who cares? They're like, who cares? I'm going to have a baby, which fair enough, but still, you probably should have rubbed it in his face a little bit there.
Yeah, and like with this whole baby scene to get us going here, why does Dom know what it's like to be a dad? What does he know? I know he's always like family, family, family. You don't know. I don't pretend to know. You guys have kids. I'm not telling you how to parent and stuff like that. Like he says something that makes it sound like, well, he's had kids.
This guy knows.
You haven't, so you don't really know.
Oh, that just adds a whole new level of insufferable to Dom's character, really, because I wrote down in my notes, Dom is insufferable. Like, just let the guy go have his baby. It started off okay. It's like, hey, man, good luck, buddy. Good luck in there. And then, oh, wait. Once you walk through that door, everything's going to change. It's all about family, whatever he says. Yeah. It's just like, yeah, man, I know. And it's like, as if like I could change my mind at this point as well, right? It's just like, well, I guess I couldn't. I could decide not to walk through the door and then I could just leave, I suppose, but you're already there. Just, you don't have to say that. It's stressful enough. Trust me, it's stressful enough having a baby. You don't need to be told the seconds before your child arrives, everything's going to change now, buddy.
Yeah, especially from a guy that doesn't have a kid. Unless we're gonna learn in the next couple movies that Dom has a kid, and I wouldn't put it past this franchise, but we don't know that right now, and so that really bugged me. That's like, that would have been like me telling you guys right before you walked into the delivery room, oh, hey guys, everything's gonna change. Well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. I'm having a baby, and what the fuck do you know about it? You don't know anything. So, like, these words are meaningless. Anyway, that bugged me. I know it bugged Nora too. She's like, he's not a dad, is he? I'm like, no, he's not. Not a dad. He's not. He just talks about family incessantly, but he is not a father. Again, at least.
Do you think there are like so many scenes on the cutting room floor of Dom giving parental advice, and eventually Brian's like, Dom, man, like, we're not your actual children. You know, we're all the same age here. Probably so. Yeah. What's he supposed to be? You think Brian thought about responding? Yeah. And you abandoned your son, Vince, for me. How am I supposed to trust you?
Yeah, not taking your advice. I mean, well, if you got a cool toy car for our boy Jack, okay, well, that's fine. Thank you for the gift, but don't need your parental advice. Okay, so yeah, that's the opening. And anything with, JD, with how we see these people living, all the crew, our friends. Yeah,
delighted to see they're all enjoying themselves. A little concerned about Roman living beyond his means because, I mean, I don't think that $10 million is going to... That's a weekend. What he's describing is all of his money gone. He's on a private jet. He's going to Monaco or wherever, staying in a luxury suite with all those girls and stuff. Yep. Not to mention the car that he bought the week before. Like that money is gone, right? Like, it has to be.
Yeah, well, yeah, the plane is personalized, too. It's not, he's not even renting it. In theory, he bought this because it says it's Roman, bitches, on the side of it. A fascinating thing to put on it, especially when you are on the run.
Yeah.
Technically, that's Roman.
Yeah. Great point. If you're the FBI, you're like, we're looking for a plane. It's going to be the only one on Earth that says it's Roman, bitches. So just look at every airport. Just wait till they land.
Yeah. I mean,
not incognito.
If anything, him getting called back, so to speak, saved him a lot of money. You're right, JD, because that was going to be all blown in Monte Carlo, or whatever was left, because it looked like he spent a lot of it. And Trey, same question for you. Just the quick shots of where they are in the world and what they're up to.
Yeah, it was fine. I guess I was reading some commentary stuff where they didn't think they were going to have enough time or money to be able to film the montage, but Justin Lin is basically like, we got to have some sort of montage. And, you mentioned the budget, Skeets. If it was 160, I guess they didn't have time for the montage. If it was 260, maybe they would have. I love when they just try and give you a little nod to continuity, and they're like, what about Leo and Santos? Apparently, last time anybody saw them, they were in a casino.
Yeah.
I remember that because it was the last scene of the movie. That was the last time we saw them. But yeah, anytime you're getting the team back together, I'm all for it.
Yeah, one thing you can't say about Justin Lin, JD, is that he's cheap or cuts corners when it comes to the production budget. Man, this guy goes all in. We're going to blow up 500 cars. We're going to be all over the world. Maybe that's why they eventually moved on from him. I don't know. Maybe they were like, all right, man, it's getting too rich for our blood. Though he's making him a ton of money, so I don't know why you would ever do that.
I think if he had decided to continue, I'm sure he would have been able to. I read that it was a planned trilogy. It was Fast and Furious, and then Fast 5 and Furious 6, and that was going to be the trilogy that happens in between the Too Fast, Too Furious and Tokyo Drift, I guess. Yeah,
right.
But yeah, when you make over $500 million on your previous film, they give you a blank check, I guess.
Right,
and fair enough. I mean, I'm definitely seeing it all on the screen,
Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to the craft table. Or maybe it is, but it's on screen too.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we got DSS agents Luke Hobbs and, we got a new character to the Fastiverse. Riley Hicks, I think her name is. That's going to be Hobbs' right-hand woman in this. They're investigating the destruction of a Russian military convoy by a crew led by a former special ops soldier named Owen Shaw. What do you think of Riley being added to the mix here, TK? And then we'll get, of course, to Owen Shaw, who is the villain of this one.
I'm not the biggest Riley Hicks fan. I think Gina Carano is the actor who plays her, and a little bit of a wooden performance, but I think she really kills it when she gets into the fist fights with Letty a little bit later on, and that's probably the entire point of having her in the movie, is to be able to have that sort of physical action between those two actors. So that part works for me, but her as a character, I mean, she's thrown in there basically. Somebody's got to be the mole, and she ends up being the mole later. Spoiler alert, but that's exactly what it is. You cannot trust a cop in this world unless it's Bilkins. Bilkins is fine. Any other cop, guaranteed they're going to be corrupt. Held up again here. But she was a little bit inessential, I think, except for that Hobbs needs a number 2, kind of.
Yes, that's right. Which she also basically played in The Mandalorian, JD. If I have that right. Though I think she, I forget what. We don't even need to get into it. Yeah. Something happened with her definitely in Hollywood where she feels like she's being blacklisted now. I think that's the story. But Owen Shaw, I thought it was Jude Law when we first saw him on camera.
Oh,
I was
interesting.
like, whoa. I don't know. He looked. I don't know why we had the lighting in the house while watching this one. Maybe too many lights on. But I thought it was Jude Law. It's not. I don't even know the actor's name. But I really like him actually as the villain in this. What'd you think of Owen Shaw as the villain, JD?
Oh, I thought he was great. He's awesome. I love the codes, right? Like you got a code, I got a code. And my code is more Machiavellian than yours, or my code is brutal and ruthless, and I stick to my code and you stick to your code, which is your weakness, which is your family. Mm-hmm. I love that matchup between the two, the protagonist and the antagonist, and I thought he was menacing, and the fact that he just doesn't give a shit makes him scary. It's like the Joker thing where it's just like, I like chaos and that's it. That's my only motivation, is that I just want to see the world burn. And he's kind of like that in a way. He's motivated by money and power, obviously, but doesn't care who he steps on, whether it's his new sidekick who has amnesia or a guy that's been working with him for years. He'll cut you loose if he needs to. And I love that in a villain.
Yeah, I think what was smart with him going with Owen Shaw here, like again, the special ops soldier who's like brilliant, sort of like is always like 10 steps ahead of everyone, is that in Fast 5 we go, Dom's counter is Hobbs, the Rock. So they just went like, they took Dom and they just like pumped him up, and he's like a supercharged, like way bigger, we talked about whether that worked or not, sort of like counter again to Dom in Fast 5. But you couldn't do that again. You couldn't just make a bigger, badder, faster, I guess, more furious villain for 6. So they sort of like, they flipped it on its head and went with like the Brainiac. Though he's ruthless too, and I agree with that, JD. Then they went with that he's just smarter than everybody. And I thought that worked, Trey. I don't know if you agree.
I think he's a great villain. And like you're saying, JD, I think he is the most menacing villain we've seen so far. Like, he's got awesome tech. He's got really cool cars. He's got actual plans. He's using trickery. Like, he actually hands the fast crew a loss very early in this movie. And you don't see that happening very often. He's a great villain to me. And I also like the fact that, there's a line, I think Brian says it at some point, where he's like, we're not chasing drivers. We're not chasing drug dealers. They're really setting the scene like this is going to be a little bit different here. This is going to go to the next level. And honestly, like, you can't just have a guy be an international drug dealer and then suddenly he's commandeering a tank and a plane. He's got to be a guy who's like really connected to the government and to, military institutions and really just wants to destroy stuff rather than try and make his money. So I thought it was a great change, and I thought it's a great way to take the series to the next level, to elevate it from just sort of heists to saving the world, basically.
Yeah. It would have been great if Brian O'Connor had a line in here like, hey guys, we are not just dealing with a drug lord that's got a lot of pockets and wears Skechers, okay? This Shaw guy, he's next level. The ante has been upped. I think Hobbs says at one point, or maybe it's Hicks, like, they're chasing these guys all around the world. I think they saved like 12 countries that they've been trying to like track down Shaw and his team here with what they're up to, and they're trying to figure it out. So Hobbs persuades Dom, goes and visits him to help capture Shaw, and he does this by showing Dom a photo of his supposedly murdered girl. I saw on Wikipedia it said wife, and I was like, hold on, Dom and Letty got married? I was like, that can't be right. It said wife. I might have to put a correction in, because I don't think that's ever actually been clarified. TK, maybe you can prove me wrong. I'm
going to have to go back and watch every scene of Dom driving with his left hand up on the screen to see if he's got a ring on or not.
Yeah, I don't think he is. I just think that's his girl.
They're together.
It's his life partner.
Did they get married in Los Bandoleros? Or,
I mean, it would have been a good time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they basically had sort of a photo shoot on the beach in that little short. That's what it was. There's a camera guy there, like going around.
Those are their engagement pictures, and they're coming back stateside for the wedding. Very cool.
Anyway, we thought she was dead, whether she was a wife or a girlfriend, and it is Letty. And whoa, Dom, mind blown. Dom and his crew accept the mission, of course, in exchange for their amnesty and allowing them to return to the United States. JD, what'd you think of the move here? The whole really story hinging on Letty is alive. That's what's going to really bring Dom back into the mix to try and take down the Shaw guy.
Yeah, I mean, I am not a huge fan of the amnesia plot line in general, in anything. Even my favorite soaps, I just find it's kind of lazy writing in a way, and but whatever, it's fine. The one thing that struck me was this Elena, this incorruptible Brazilian cop.
Yeah.
Is now she's shacked up with Dom, who's an international convict. It was like, okay, I guess $10 million or however his share of it. I guess that was enough to throw it all away. I guess
I think it's just a classic, like we don't know. I don't think what her husband, who of course died in the line of fire, looked like, but she went from one extreme to the other, right? So she went from cop to one of the most wanted criminals in the world. Maybe he was like a really petite, skinny guy that only wore long sleeves, only took the bus, never drove.
So
I think that happens. You
Right.
get out of a relationship, you just you go too far on the spectrum. I think that's what happened. But
Fair enough.
again, she's there, and it's not really talked about a whole lot. It becomes a tiny storyline because of with what happens with Letty, but not even really that much, right, Trey?
Not too much. I mean, at the end, Neves comes back. I guess she's keeping Mia company while the guys are out doing their missions. And you get a couple of scenes with her there. But basically, like, she shows up at the end. She sees Dom and Letty together. She's like, all right, enjoy. Have fun there. But the other weird thing about this whole scene to me with Hobbs showing up is that it only took a week. Like, this guy has moved on to chasing Owen Shaw in a week after they just violated the deal with you, took all of the money at the end of Fast 5, and now you're on to the next guys already, and they've got a Dom lookalike, only from the back, though. I thought that was a funny scene, the fake out where he's going to interrogate him. But I'm like, okay, you knew where Dom was. They do make a point of him saying there's no extradition here, and also I wasn't involved in that job because I do not like cold weather, which seems to add up for Dom so far. No sleeves, you're not going to be hanging out in the cold. But yeah, I'm like, you should have your priorities in line here. Like, deal with Dom and Brian, and then move on to Shaw. Is what I would think. But I don't know. The time frame was very strange. Once they mentioned that the picture of Letty was taken a week ago, I was like, wait, a week? A week? This should have been like 3 months ago for you to start up on this completely new case, chasing them through, like you said, 12 countries. He's chasing Shaw from, like, you didn't really care about that safe. You didn't really care about catching Dom and Brian. It was all about getting to Shaw.
Yeah, like Hobbs is just juggling too many balls if this timeline is correct. Like, he's trying to take down one incredible crew, Dom's team, while he's like following Shaw all around the world in theory. Like, they're overlapping. I mean, he's not getting enough sleep, JD, and no wonder he can't catch anyone because he can't focus.
He can't catch anyone because he's got baby oil all over his arms. He can't actually.
My grasp.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. Anyway, he does, of course, convince them. And I do like. I will say I like Brian's reaction to seeing the Letty pics when Dom shows them. It made perfect sense. He's like, I was a cop. This is bullshit.
Right.
Don't believe this. Whatever. They got a photo or they mocked this up. One of these guys they know is a Photoshop boy. This isn't real. I like that. I was like, okay, that's sort of cool. That makes sense, especially being a former cop. But he turns so quickly. I couldn't even I went back and watched it. I was like, what? Why did he get convinced that like they just had to do it? I mean, I guess just it's family, and I know his wife his wife. Or at least the mother to his child. No one knows if anybody's married in this damn series. Like, come on, take a second, have a proper wedding, invite people. You guys got a lot of money. Have a nice plate, $100 per plate, even maybe more. But yeah, just boom. He's like, okay, yeah, let's go.
Well,
when he was like, at first, he was like, I don't know.
Yeah, but Dom is like, I gotta know for sure. It may be bullshit, but I just gotta know for sure. I guess that's that's enough.
Yeah, there is a part here where Brian Paul Walker is throwing a better paper airplane than Klay Thompson and Lee Ellis ever did. I did like that part. Which he actually he makes another one later in the movie. And then I was like, wow, is this next level? He's making a paper airplane. He does it again in jail when he goes to see the drug lord. And then the climax of this movie is a giant plane. I was like, whoa.
That's gotta be on purpose.
It has to be. Yeah. It has to be.
I'm convinced that anything you notice in the first half of these movies is breadcrumbs for later on in the second half of these movies. Once JD broke my brain by mentioning, I guess it was in Fast 2, that the reason that Tej had lifted the drawbridge in the very first race was because there was going to be another drawbridge jump later on. I was like, whoa! It's all related, man!
Yeah, it really is. Well, the team is, they're doing it. They are going to be sort of back together and going to go try and help out Dom, find Letty, take down this Shaw guy, and then get amnestied so they can be free and go back and live in the United States. That's the real plan here. That's the deal that has been made between Hobbs and I want to keep saying Hobbs and Shaw because I know that's a movie coming up, but between Hobbs and Dom. So in London, Shaw's hideout is found, but he's always thinking this guy. It's revealed to be a trap, distracting them and the police while Shaw's crew performs a heist at an Interpol building. Shaw flees by a custom car that they got. We'll get into that. They detonate his own hideout and disable basically most of the police. Letty arrives at the end of this incredible scene to help Shaw, and you're like, whoa, Letty is alive, and she's on Shaw's team, and she shoots Dom without hesitation before escaping. He takes a bullet to the shoulder there, exposed shoulder too. Unless he's wearing a jacket, I can't remember. Anyway, very rare. He does wear a jacket at one point in this movie, but I can't remember if it's in that scene or whether he's got the tank top on. Okay, so anyway, Trey, you go first here. The real, this big move here from Shaw, the psych out, and then the race that follows with these custom cars that are basically like they stole them from BattleBots.
Yeah.
That's a flipper on BattleBots.
That's a flipper right there.
Yeah.
A Formula One flipper, basically. Yeah. That thing is zooming. I'm not proud of this, but when I was rewatching this again, I had forgotten about the, lure him one place so we can go hit up Interpol. Yep. And I said verbally, out loud, this guy's good. This guy is good, man.
He is.
Yeah, he really tricked him. He had the whole setup there. He thought of everything, right? Like, he got them in the wrong place. He got what he needed. He had an escape route, and he cleared up all of his evidence at his original hideout by blowing it up. And that to me is like even more evidence to say we're going to another level with the villain here. This guy's got serious tech. He's got a chip gun. He's got these crazy flipper cars. And to me, it's just you're setting the scene like this is the biggest, baddest villain these guys are going to have to deal with. And it's going to be tough for him. You don't see Fast and Furious crew lose very often. Right. They all lose in that first battle with Shaw there. Like you're saying, Dom gets shot. Hobbs has his jump, which he lands and then doesn't land. And I think Brian pulls a sweet move. He gets a chip gun shot on his car. You could just stop, as in any Fast and Furious movie. Just stop. Pull over. Just stop. But no, I like the way he did it. Just like, think, dinked it off there by driving it really close to something. A smart move. But I thought the action in this scene was great.
Yeah, this scene had it all. It had those armored flipper cars. It had, like you said, Hobbs turning into Spider-Man. We had Letty shooting Dom. And, I guess microchip guns are the new harpoon tasers. Thank you very much. That's what I thought, JD. I'm sure you did as well.
I did too. I was like, oh, cool. Projectiles being shot at a car again. And then in I think the next scene or a few scenes later, we see Tej with a souped up harpoon, foreshadowing.
Yep.
Why is he developing them? I don't know, because he had extra Nas cans lying around or something maybe. But look, this is an awesome set piece. I loved the weaponized Formula One car, as you say, Trey. And the whole thing, I want to see our heroes, catch a loss every once in a while, like it's the hero's journey. It's you need to go through hell to get to where you're going to be. And I enjoyed it. And I was blown away by this car, and I just loved it. And I didn't realize this, but I watched a little making of video. The cars, the Formula One flip cars, whatever, you could steer them from the back wheel as well. So there's that really cool scene where it's sort of, because I was like, why would anyone, if you see a car coming at you, you either hit the brakes or you pull over, right? Like,
and
even
you
if
never
you're
hit the brakes.
Yeah, well, exactly. But I'm like, why would they just allow this to happen? Like just their car to ramp over it. But because the wheel actually turns from the rear, there's this really cool shot from the POV of the cop car, and it just goes just sort of shucks itself underneath the car, and it's amazing. Like it's just, and they designed and built this car, and it's just incredible. The action sequence, this particular action sequence, is just awesome, and it ends with the brilliant rock stunt that we already talked about. Like it's just superhero mode, but I loved it. I loved it. And then I also loved Dom afterwards performing surgery on himself, standing up, removing the bullet. It's like, Dom,
full bullet.
Listen, man, you're working with the government. I think it's okay to go to the hospital, all right, we get it. You're a tough guy, but God, just pulls it out.
Yeah, it was very easy.
No reaction either.
And then they were assessing that bullet, and then they were off. We get them in the pawn shop later. He took it like a champ. He's getting stronger. Dom is no doubt getting stronger as this franchise goes on. This guy is hulking up. He can do anything now. He's like we've talked about. He can jump in the air 40 feet and give a flying headbutt, and he can take a shot to the arm and just pull it out later. It's amazing. So
it's all great. I just wish that he had been bitten by a radioactive spider or accidentally
to make him a
swallowed
superhero. Yeah,
like a magic spark plug or something, or something. Just let's explain it to the audience, and then we're like, okay, fine.
He touched it when he was a kid, and his dad fired up that charger in the garage, and it got him somehow, zapped him, gave him power. That's why he's always his mouth is always parched. He needs Corona because this energy is coursing through his body. Yeah, there's something there. Could have been drinking oil or something like that.
We got some big news from our favorite security company, Simply Safe. They just launched their new wireless outdoor security camera. That's right, Simply Safe. You know Simply Safe. It's the system that U.S. News and World Report names Best Home Security System of 2021. Yes, that's Simply Safe. I got it here at the house, and it's great, and it just got even better. This brand new outdoor security camera is engineered with all the bells and whistles. Doesn't say bells and whistles. It says advanced tech and security features that you want and need to help keep you and your family safe. Bells and whistles, though, great idea for a security system because the bells and whistles could go off to alert you of intruder or an emergency or something, but I digress. This camera has an ultra-wide 140-degree field of view so you can keep watch over your entire yard. It has 1080p HD resolution with an 8x zoom. That means you can zoom in and clearly see things like faces and license plates to capture critical evidence. Plus, you get to say, Enhance. It's got a built-in spotlight with color night vision so you can keep an eye on what's going on day and night. And it's super simple to set up and usually takes just minutes. And it has an easy-to-remove rechargeable battery so it doesn't need an outlet and can go anywhere on your property. This camera has it all. And it integrates with your Simply Safe home security system, extending its protection to the outside. Together, it means every door, window, and room are protected, and now your property will be too. To learn more about the exciting new Simply Safe wireless outdoor security camera, visit simplysafe.com/nodunks. Wait, there's more. Simply Safe is celebrating this new camera by offering 20% off your entire new system and your first month of monitoring service free when you enroll in interactive monitoring. Again, that's simplysafe.com/nodunks. No Dunks.
What's up, guys? I'm here to talk about Everlane. Everclear? No, that's a band. That was a 90s band. They sang Santa Monica. I'm talking about Everlane, guys, not Everclear, you idiots. Ha! Everlane, man, I love it. I've talked about owning the men's French Terry Crew sweatshirt, I guess. I love it. It's a classic. I would wear it by a fire happily. I've said that before. It's just a good look for someone like me. It's a good look for everybody, if we're being honest. And it says in the text here for this Everlane copy that I can share different activities that I would wear this piece to. Well, I already told you I'd wear it at a fire. But it says, for example, cooking at home, exploring a local farmer's market, or a solo afternoon stroll. Hell yeah, Everlane! I would wear this sweatshirt doing all three of those things. Cooking, exploring the local farmer's market, just a stroll. If it's cold enough, I'm wearing this sweatshirt because it's baller. I'm wearing it for everything because it's timeless. Everlane has everything you need to upgrade your look. Whether you're going out on the town with friends or having a movie night with the fam or strolling in the afternoon. Hey honey, have you seen my strolling sweatshirt? It's 3 o'clock. I gotta get out there. Look good, feel good is what I'm saying though. From workout to takeout, swimwear to trackwear, styles for lounging at home or hitting up your favorite late night spot. My God, do they really want to get it clear to you in this copy that you can wear these clothes anywhere? And you can, because they're clothes. And they're great. They got breathable, organic cotton trackwear. Gives an elevated sort of take on the tried and true basics. I like that. And for those beach days or pool parties, you can check out Everlane's sustainable swimwear collection, made from over 13,000 pounds of recycled plastic. I like that. So go to everlane.com/nodunks and sign up for 10% off your first order plus free shipping. And get easy returns within 30 days for your ship date. That's 10% off your first order when you go to everlane.com/nodunks and sign up. Get yourself a strolling sweater is what I say. Back at headquarters, Hobbs tells Dom's crew that Shaw is stealing these components, we find out what he's doing, to create this deadly device that can shut down all power, intending to sell it to the highest bidder. Yeah, I guess believable enough when it comes to these type of movies, Trey, you know, the villain wanting the ability to... I was a little confused what it was, but it will just be able to shut down basically a city or country's entire electricity grid and then allow you to do whatever you want and chaos ensues, I guess. Is that right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
To me, it seems like it would be the chip gun they have on a large scale, right? You shoot that and all the electronics in your car start going haywire. I guess you shoot a gigantic chip gun at a city, the whole grid goes down and you can do whatever you want. I was reading about the commentary and I think Justin Lin said that this is called the Nightshade device or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And he said it was such an obvious MacGuffin that I tried to only mention it once. And well done. They're like, they're going to be chasing down this thing. Who cares what it does? Like, just honestly, just stop them from getting it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
That's what they call it Nightshade once, and then the rest of the time they just refer to it as the component. He got the component. It's like, and I wrote in my notes, I'm like, they're so lazy they can't even bother to name the MacGuffin. But it turns out that, Trey, you're absolutely right. They did say it once, the Nightshade device. But to be fair to Justin Lin and all of the Fast and Furious people, when I watch a Bond movie, I have no idea what's going on. Like,
right.
Whatever the scheme is, it's all just there for the set pieces, right? The stunts, and even the Mission Impossible franchise, which I love as well. Same thing. It's just like, okay, there's a device. All right, they have a device, and they're stealing a device, and that's what we want. It's a MacGuffin. Fine.
Yeah. And it's just usually it's taking over a government. It's taking over a country. It's tapping into some unlimited funds, like bank account or something. I mean, it's all the same thing. There's like 3 or 4 things they're always going after these villains. You know, it's like, pick something else and you'll have a better chance, maybe. Anyway,
I like the idea of Owen Shaw just hating electricity. So like anytime he's at his house, he's like, "You better turn off the lights if you lose that room, or I'll shoot a chip gun at it and it'll never work again." I just hates electricity.
My dad was basically Owen Shaw yelling to turn the lights off.
That's how it started.
Every time I left a room.
My dad hated me leaving the lights on, and now I'm turning all the lights off.
That's right. It's actually sort of, if anything, he's saving the environment, if you look at it that way. He's
very conscious.
Very something to it. So meanwhile, while we got Dom's crew sort of like getting together at headquarters, we also see Shaw, and he's got a little investigation going into Dom's crew. Because again, this guy's like, he's not content just to be like, yeah, we're the bad guys and they're chasing us. He's like, no, I got to know about my enemy. So let's, do a little digging into what's going on there. And we find out Letty's relationship with Dom, or he does. And we get the whole thing as a viewer that she is suffering from amnesia. If you couldn't have figured it out by now, like, what is Letty doing? What is possibly going on? Did she somehow have a twin sister? She's got amnesia from her big crash back in, help me out, is that F4? Yeah. FF4. So that's what's going on with her. She doesn't even know Dom anymore. She doesn't remember any of that life. And yeah, we get Shaw's, looking into Dom's team. I just thought it is very Avengers, JD, the two squads and like them doing their, recon on each other. And even to the point where they're like, was it Roman? Is it in one of those scenes where he's like, hey, they're basically us, which I thought was pretty funny. And he's going through basically the entire team.
Yeah, it's great. And then he points to the blonde girl on the other team and refers to Paul Walker, and it's fun. That was legit funny. I enjoyed that. And that's what I was saying about the last movie. Yeah. I wanted more of that. Like, I don't think we still got it, but at least they acknowledged it. You know, it's like every movie they make, they look back and go, you know what, we should have done more of a foils for each of them on the other team. Let's do it this time, and and they did it, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and Roman usually has, and he does even in this movie still, don't get me wrong, like cringe comedy lines, and you're like, what? Oh my God, who wrote that? And like the poor guy having to say this and trying to deliver it. But this scene, I agree with JD. I think you do too, Trey. This was funny. This was funny Roman pointing out the similarities between the squads and making fun of everybody. That worked for me. This was like probably Roman's sort of like at least funniest moment.
Yeah, that was his funniest moment where he's the one making the jokes. There are some great moments for Roman where he's basically getting dunked on this entire movie, which I think are great. But yeah, I couldn't help but thinking of JD during that scene, especially after we had recorded the Fast 5 podcast, and he said they should have a whole team that's exactly the same as the Fast team.
Yeah, you called it, man.
Like, basically it feels like if you would have tweeted any idea for a Fast and Furious movie when these were coming out, they were at least going to like put it on the whiteboard and consider it. They do a lot of fan service in this, and I thought that was a great scene. And I also think Roman is pretty funny. I think it's a little bit earlier when they're first getting together with Hobbs at the same HQ, and he's just trying to scam chips off people. Like he's trying to get Han's chips. They're gone, obviously. He's been eaten. He finally gets them out of the vending machine after Hobbs shoots it down. That's how you stay a millionaire, by asking people for change. Yeah. But maybe he's asking people for change because he spent all of his money on a private plane that everybody can easily identify. But yeah, this scene is great. Breaking down the crews. White Hobbs, though, that guy is humongous.
Oh my God, yeah, that guy's
like shaped like a refrigerator.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar, I was calling him while watching this. That guy was a tank. I wanted more of him, actually, in this movie. I did like, too, to go back to Shaw when they're doing the investigating on Dom's team. I loved Shaw getting mad at one of his henchmen for calling the Fast and Furious team just common criminals. And he was so offended. It was like the classic, you gotta respect your enemy. And that's not respect. They're far from common criminals, but he was legit pissed. And I don't know why that made me laugh out loud, JD.
No, it's great. That's why he's such a good villain. He's like, don't underestimate them. Mm-hmm. You cannot underestimate anybody. So, yes, they're common criminals, but, I mean, they could beat us.
Yeah. Yeah, there is respect between these two squads, at least from their leaders. So Dom's crew learns that Shaw is connected to a drug lord who was imprisoned by Brian. It is Arturo Braga. Remember him? Yeah. We're going back to him. So while Tej and Hobbs are purchasing several cars from an auction for this mission they got coming up here, Brian returns to L.A. as a prisoner. Does he go to L.A. or where is Braga? He must be in California, right?
I think he's in California.
Yeah.
I thought so.
He returns there. Yeah, that makes sense because the FBI's there. As a prisoner to question Braga, who, ultimately says Letty survived the explosion that seemingly killed her. I mean, this is the big thing that he's getting from here. I am glossing over a lot because there's a lot of scenes here as they sort of like build this mission and we can go through them. What do you think about... Well, let's go with Brian here first. This whole play to go back to prison, Trey. Believable enough for you with the FBI helping him out, and he's only in there like what? He's on the clock, and he does the old
24 hours.
Yeah, he does the old smooth move to like put himself in isolation. I guess it was to get him closer to Braga there by what'd you say that guy's name is that he takes down? Stosniak, yeah. Anyway, what'd you think of that part? We'll go with that part first.
Well, Skeets, I loved the Stosniak callback. After the montage in the opening where they only put him getting headbutted in the nose in there so that he could get headbutt in the nose later. Yeah. I thought that was funny. Again! Oh, man! Tough break for Stosniak. This guy is taking L's left and right. I thought that was very funny. I would say a bit of a change of heart for Brian. About 20 minutes ago, he was saying, as soon as I walk through that door, life changes. And now he is voluntarily going to jail on the other side of the world just for 24 hours to see a guy who he put in jail. So a little risky for Brian, but, he gets in and he gets out pretty smoothly, all things considered. I don't think he learns very much from Braga, though.
Okay. I'm confused about this whole part of the story. The Brian feeling so guilty for Letty, one, which I guess makes some sense. I understand that because there's a lot of that. And then I'm with you, Trey. I'm like, what did he really go and find out? Or JD, what are we missing here? He didn't get that much information at all.
Yeah, I think it was just confirmation that she didn't remember, or she was suffering from amnesia because
Shaw took her in after the amnesia. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and that was about it.
Yeah.
What was distracting?
And I think Braga says the only way you get close to Shaw is if he wants you there, and that kind of comes up a little bit later. But you really didn't learn much from him.
No.
And I'll say one thing that keeps coming up with Braga and Shaw that I did not like was anytime they would start talking about Letty's amnesia, the perfect girl.
Yeah.
The perfect girl. Why? Why is an amnesiac the perfect criminal accomplice? That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
I guess, for this... Oh, that's true.
Why does it matter?
100 steps ahead that he's like, I need family. I need someone from Dom's family. But man, it would help if she can't remember a damn thing. And then I can mold her to then bring Dom even closer to me. But how many years has this been in the plan, and why even get them involved? You're that maniacal? That doesn't make a lot of sense. But Brian gets out. He's released from prison after getting this information and regrouping with the team back in London. He goes back there. And we get other stuff in here because we get to I said it there, we get the Tej Hobbs buying of cars scene, a comedic scene, JD. Was it funny that, they're stereotyped for being there,
sure,
with how they look, how they dress and all that, to buy all these expensive cars. Mm-hmm. And then the payoff, of course, is getting this guy to strip down to his knickers,
right?
Getting his watch and all that. I mean, sure. Super weird scene, really, if we're being honest here. But I guess it was just to have Ludacris and The Rock be funny.
Yeah, I think it was obviously for comedy, and and I like that Ludacris's character Tej. He's just, I'm just gonna buy the car. There's no scheme here. I'm straight up buying these cars, and then I'm gonna humiliate this dude who was, trying to humiliate us. So basically, profiled us, and so fuck him, and we're gonna humiliate him. The guy is such a caricature, like right out of central casting for the snooty Downton Abbey butler. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bit much. Downton Abbey would say that to the guy. So,
Tone it down.
But
They should have hired the Dowager Countess to auction it off.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted them to go further with it. The main problem I had with that scene when they're telling him to strip, aside from you could call it sexual assault, really, but aside from that, this score never stops being like this spy sort of like it's a little bit lighter, but it's just like, come on, guys, play it for comedy. Just get out the tuba and just do we all know the bum, 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 that kind of thing. And then what this guy has, he's stripped of every bit of his dignity, and but he still walks out in his socks and his boxers. And I think it could have been funnier, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I sort of agree with that. And also, okay, so Hobbs and Tej are in charge, I guess, of getting these awesome cars. Yeah. They haven't talked about their plan in advance, which is, I'm just going to buy the cars. Which also, Tej, I mean, I know you're great with your money, it appears. You're very kind, but you don't need to buy them. Right. Unless he meant by, like, we are buying them. The government, the FBI is buying them by way of Hobbs. I guess that makes a lot more sense. Like, why should he have to buy these cars that were ultimately just going to crash?
Maybe Hobbs is there to finance it. That makes a good point. Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know.
I just assumed it was Tej.
I know.
Being, the guy said, clearly you're not a baller.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have no idea. I'm going to do ballers in a couple
it turns
years.
out you got ballered. And honestly, The Rock was in a show called Ballers, so you completely blew it, guy. But yeah, to me, it's just, how can we get Ludacris and The Rock in a scene together? That's going to be them joking. Yeah. And that's what it was. And there are some funny moments to it, but not a killer.
No, it was maybe a little too long, I think, is what we're getting at here. The payoff was not ultimately worth it with this guy sort of getting down to his underwear. I think we have in here, too, correct me if I'm wrong, I might have my timeline with this movie incorrect, but do we also have Han and Roman along with Giselle and Riley with Hicks going to the I don't know what that dude even was. I was so confused by this point what that guy
harpoon guy
did.
I think.
Is that the harpoon guy? So this is was
he a harpoon guy? I don't know. He was some sort of weapons
the
guy.
Bullet guy? Well,
he was shooting something. It may have been a harpoon.
No, I think it was. But the whole
who cares? Who cares? He was a lead.
We get Han and Roman talking about love, though. Because that's where Roman is picking up that Han is into Giselle, which, they gave them a moment. This was like the part of the movie where they're like, okay, we got a lot of people in this movie. Yeah. We got to give them some scenes either by themselves or at least with just one other person to continue to build their character, or just because, they're actors and they want to act. So, let them have at it. So that's why we get all these little pairing offs here. But, anything to add to that whole scene there, mainly the Han and Roman talking about Giselle?
I mean, not really. There's a couple of this and the scene at the very end where another creepy sort of weird scene where it's just like, I can't remember what they said in that scene, but in the end of the movie when Elena is coming up to Letty to talk to her, and they're like, ooh, this is going to be awkward, but damn sexy. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? Like, and there was some sort of insinuation like, when Riley takes the guy to the ground and Tyrese is like, ooh, I like that. It's like, okay, I mean,
Tyrese likes it rough, man.
It's like she's taking down a guy. It's how is it? I mean, I know people have their things, but I don't know. It's not sexy. It's cool. I like that, but it's just the insinuation that it's sexy. Two women being strong. I like it. I mean, I like it, but I don't like it that way. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you mean. I don't know why you explained it. That was funny to me. I guess what I want to ask here to you, Trey, is the Han Giselle romance believable to you throughout the last couple? Is it?
I think Han is the only fast crew that could date Giselle, because he's the only one who's cool enough to pull it off and not care that she is like, she put her body on the line in Fast 5, and, maybe somebody else would be jealous about that, but Han is like, hey, man, that's cool. Do you see how cool I am? Do you see how cool I am? That's why Giselle loves me, and I think he pulls it off. It's believable to me. It's not totally believable to me that their entire goal is going somewhere to settle down. That's not believable in the least to me. Like, you've been jetting around the world, performing crimes and driving cars as fast as you possibly can, and now you're like 29 years old and you want to settle down. I don't believe that, but I do believe, I believe in them as a couple. I love them as a couple, if I'm being honest.
What's strange to me, though, with the timeline of Fast and Furious, because we know Tokyo Drift coming later on after these movies with the Canyon, is that Han loses a girl he, in theory, loves. We'll get to that scene, but she dies, and that he somehow becomes cooler. JD, like that. I was like, hold on. I mean, because he's not as cool. I'm gonna say it. He's not as cool in these last couple as he was in Tokyo Drift. So that means he actually becomes cooler. And he goes through a lot of shit and loses a girl. And that's maybe, speaks to Han. Maybe that's just how cool he is, goddammit.
It's a great point. But I'm kind of the only scene that I thought they had real chemistry was at the very beginning of the movie, before they get picked up, wherever they are.
Yes. Somewhere in Asia, right?
No, somewhere in Asia.
Yeah.
I assume it's not Japan because
no, it's not.
They're still dancing around Tokyo at that point.
Right.
But I thought they were a believable couple. They were acting like a couple, just getting some food and hey, maybe we should settle down. And she's like, "Aren't we settling down? Isn't this settling down?" I like that scene between them, but not much else in terms of chemistry between the two of them.
Okay.
So.
I think somewhere in here too we do get the pawn shop part. I'll just chuck it in there if anybody wanted to add anything to it. I thought it was fine. You get to just see Dom and Brian doing their thing together. TK.
Yeah, I think my only note on this scene was headbutts galore.
Yeah.
Dom is just dropping headbutts left and right here. No marks on his forehead. Doesn't even get red. Knocks him straight out.
Of course not.
It's not even red. It should be a little red. A little
give him like a
bruised.
dot or something.
Yeah,
It's in his contract, man. He's no marks on my face.
I never bruise.
I will say though, for his character, because of the way he looks, because of the way Vin Diesel is, I'm like, that's, if he were to fight, it's believable to me he could use that giant noggin to do some damage, right? It's like, I don't, like we've talked about it before, he's doing parkour, and I'm like, come on, he's not that fast, or he's not that agile, and yeah, he's trying to get the arms up, because he's always wearing the tank, and they're getting better, they've gotten better as it's gone on, sure, but if I saw him in a fight, I'd be like, use your head, man. Your head is giant. Ram your head into him. So, that's somewhat believable, I guess. Maybe not the one where he flies 40 feet in the air, like he's Chris Benoit jumping off the top rope to drop a headbutt. But, he's in the fight. He's throwing that head around. So,
yeah, but he couldn't use it against the guy behind the glass. He beat up a guy behind glass. I mean, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was impressive.
I like that part. And, there's a couple times in this movie, tight quarters. Let's put those fight scenes in tight quarters. Happens with Brian in jail, in the prison cell, and, all the stuff they're pulling off in there. And then, in this pawn shop, which isn't very big, too, and the guy behind the glass, like you said. That's not bad. It's really put them in a box. Legit just put them in a box and see how they would fight their way out of this. So, to keep it going here, Dom challenges Letty in a street racing competition, of course.
Of course.
And afterward, he returns her cross necklace. This stupid necklace, man. I'm so tired of it. It's a character at this point in this franchise. We've seen so much of this necklace in the shorts and all these movies, but he returns it to her. And then after Letty leaves, Shaw offers Dom a chance to walk away, threatening to otherwise hurt his family, but Dom refuses. So we get the Letty-Dom scene after a race, and then we get Shaw and Dom. Trey, we'll start with you on either of these ones. Which one did you, I guess you like more, or what did you think of it?
I've been pretty critical of every love scene that Vin Diesel has. It's just completely unbelievable to me. This is the sexiest Vin Diesel has ever been in this scene with Letty. There's actual chemistry between them. I think when he looks over, ride or die, remember? Oh, little chills down the spine. He hits the wheelie. Of course, there's drifting. There's some stare and drive action. And of course, Dom hits the nos late to win. That's how he always does it. I really buy their chemistry. I love the line that Letty has at the end of that race. This guy's crazy. Then they go to the bridge. They're having their little chat. We get an okay line comparing, love to cars. Show me how you drive, I'll show you who you are. Mm-hmm. That one's fine to me.
Right?
But when Dom says to her, you never could resist American muscle, I threw up. I had to throw up a little bit there. That was a minor barf for me, but then Dom brings it back with the matching scars from when they were body surfing. Are you kidding me? I ship them. I totally ship Dom and Letty. I'm glad she's back. I don't know how she's back. I don't know what body they buried. There was a funeral, but I'm glad it wasn't Letty because I completely believe it, even if she has no clue who this guy is who's macking on her hard in a car.
Yeah, we can't put a bruise on his old noggin or, heaven forbid, a little blood or something with all these headbutts, but he's got a scar on his hip, JD.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything that Trey just said. I mean, it was a great scene. It was a race through the streets of London through a landmark. Was that Piccadilly Circus or the Queen's Bridge or whatever? It reminded me of Tokyo Drift when they go through that awesome square, and it was shot beautifully. And yes, the scar comparison stuff was shot very sensually. It was kind of cool. I mean, I was buying it. I too am shipping those two. I bought in, and yes, I barfed a little too on that line, but that's okay. It's like, this is definitely not the worst line in the movie. I mean,
right.
Not by a long shot. So, and then it goes on with Shaw. Shaw shows up, right? And then you've got matching laser dots on your chest, boys.
Yep.
How? Well, there's a tracking device. Okay, fine. Whatever. Like, The Rock's there. He's got his back. I mean, sure, right? But I did like the standoff between the two of them, and I already talked about how this is the scene where they're talking about the codes, right? You've got a code and I've got a code.
Yes,
Your code is family and my code is what is it? Precision? Precision, right?
Yeah, I got
Something like that.
I got a problem with that.
Code.
I love the idea of that being his code, but what he ends up doing is far from precise.
Right.
With veering around in a tank, just joyriding. We're going to get to that very soon, but I was like, what? This is not you, man. This isn't your code. What's going on here?
Right.
Maybe Dom had him rattled or something, but I actually did like this scene too with Shaw and Dom. I thought it was fine, and you're right, maybe a little silly how it ends with like, well, I was about to kill you, but now I can't because also we would just kill each other here now, so we will just part our ways. But Trey, what'd you think of Dom and Shaw too?
Yeah, I think that's a solid scene as well. I love the little bit of meta commentary we get from Shaw describing Dom. Street kid, starts off stealing DVD players in East LA, ends up heisting $100 million in Rio. It's a good story, isn't it? Almost inspiring. I was like, yeah, man. You get it. That's why we're tuned in here. They were stealing DVD players, and everybody thinks it's hilarious. That was probably a tweet. Can you believe it? This guy started off stealing DVD players.
Yeah.
Now he's heisting $100 million. Throw it in the movie. And then, the laser pointers show up. Great stuff. 2-bit government hack, a nice line. I thought that was a little meeting of the minds between those two. That was good.
This felt like, up until this point, the most Dom Vin Diesel, I guess, has gotten to like act.
Yeah.
Like these two scenes back to back, it's like actually a lot of lines, and obviously like trying to like remind Letty that they were in love, possibly married, no one knows. Like they should have thrown in a quick line like, hey, we're gonna have a second marriage or wedding or something like that, just so we know for sure. But anyway, and then with Shaw, I thought it was, maybe his I don't want to say his best moment, but definitely like they let him run here, JD. And there's a big reason why this movie is so damn long, just like this podcast is going to be, because there are a lot of like, there's a lot of great action scenes and they're very long, just like the other movies. But there's like this stuff too, where like two characters are just talking.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Tej then tracks Shaw's next attack to a Spanish NATO base. So Shaw's crew assaults a highway military convoy carrying a computer chip, that's what they're going for, to complete his device. Dom's crew interferes, while Shaw, along with Letty, they commandeer a tank. Yes, here's where the tank comes in. They're destroying cars left and right. Again, nothing precise or anything that says precision here from Shaw. So I don't know where that code went, man, but Brian and Roman end up flipping the tank before it causes further damage, resulting in Letty being thrown from the vehicle, as we talked about, and Dom turning into Superman or Spider-Man and flying through the sky, catching her and landing so conveniently on the windshield of a car, and everybody is okay. But the tank scene, JD, I thought was pretty cool. When the tank came out of the carrier, I was like, yeah, like, okay, that's cool. I was like, it looked cool,
guys.
too.
They got a tank. Great trailer line.
Yeah. But what'd you think, JD?
I love this scene. Again, I thought this was the climax of the movie, appropriately so. Apparently, this was shot in the Canary Islands on a brand new highway that had never been used. I can't believe that the Canary Islands government allowed this to happen, but they did, and it was spectacular. The destruction that the tank rains down on the poor cars of Spain, I guess was supposed to be, was just devastating, really. But there were a couple of parts that are like this tank is just going over every car, like crushing it beyond recognition. And then Roman, his job is to get in front of the tank. Why? What? Like, what was the thinking there? I that part I just did not get. I mean, it was great because you see Roman.
Wasn't it to like wrap that unbelievable wire that they have around the tank somehow, or do I have it wrong?
Yeah, no, I guess you're right. You're right. But they weren't anticipating a tank, so they were improvising. That's what they're good at. But and also he said there was a throwaway line. It was like, just get up there, distract him from the other cars. I'm like, what is it? How is that going to work? Anyway, it was fine. But it was spectacular to watch. I was on the edge of my seat, going, "This is awesome! This is awesome!" Like, it was great. It's just a great feat of cinematic action happening.
And originally this was conceived as two movies, and this was supposed to be the first ending, the conclusion
really?
with the tank. Yeah, this scene, which really does feel like, wow, this is a huge, crazy ending to a movie. It must be over, and then no, we get to the whole plane thing. That was like a second ending.
Interesting.
But yeah, which is wild. They're like, jam them together, put them both in the same movie. Who cares how long it is? People are going to watch this, and years later they're going to podcast about it for over 2 hours. What do you think of the tank, TK, and then how they ultimately take it down? We already talked enough about Dom flying through the air and all that, but the taking down the tank, I thought was sort of cool, but was it believable at all?
Yeah, of course, man. You got a Mustang hooked up to a leader line, and one guy smacks it over the edge and pulls the whole thing down. Is it believable? No, but who cares? Neither is anything else. I love it. I think it's one of the best action scenes in the whole franchise, for sure. The Dom flying through the air is an iconic scene, even if it's completely silly. And I don't know, there's some small moments in here that I think are actually really great as well. Like, Dom at one point has to drive underneath the collapsing bridge, and he barely makes it. Yep. And for the first time ever, you're like, Dom is surprised that he pulled off a driving move. He's like, oh. Like, you never see that from Dom. He's never rattled in those sort of things. Brian leaps a car over a rubble ramp, a great shot. Roman pulls off his first car leap of the series. I think he jumps from his car right before it gets crashed. Maybe Han is who's picking him up. I think so. I'm not totally sure on that one. So yeah, there's some great moments in here. And then it ends with the flying Dom scene. So this is a 10 of 10 scene for me. And I mean, it's just completely wild to think that this is like 2/3 of the way through the movie. It feels like the ending, 100%. And then I'm like, oh yeah, the whole plane sequence is still to come. That's a climax to a movie right there as well. And like you're saying, JD, if this had been two movies, you can see how that would have worked.
Oh, I did the mistake of, like, when this scene's going on and it's ultimately coming to the end, I'm like, this movie must be over soon. And I did the old pause, let's check the bar, and I honestly couldn't believe it. I was like, what? Like, first off, this has been pretty long.
Yeah, it was 90 minutes. Over 90 minutes when that happened.
Okay, totally normal for an action movie. And we have, what felt like a third still to go. I mean, basically what? I was like, I could not believe it. But much, much more to come here. Because they are captured. Shaw and his crew. And again, you also think the movie's over. Cool. But the reveal is Mia. Remember her? Remember she's got a baby named Jack? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's been kidnapped by Shaw's, two henchmen. I guess the woman and Brock Lesnar, right? White Rock. Hobbs is forced to then release Shaw, and Riley, it turns out, the big reveal here is that she is an accomplice to Shaw, so she leaves with him. And then Letty chooses to remain with Dom. So we got a nice little switcheroo here where Letty is with the Fast and Furious team and Riley was in on it all along and is with Shaw's team. There was a weird line in here about like, well, what are we going to do? Because family is everything, so we have to let him go. Like, smooth move by him. He knows your code. You didn't think to have anybody else in the FBI maybe just protect your newborn son or anything like that. Like, you thought it was cool. I guess you have a cop.
Elena.
Yep, yeah, you got Elena. You got a cop with her. Anyway, we didn't think that far through. Shaw, of course, did. So we have to let you go now. And then Hobbs says something like to Dom about like, now they're gonna go chase him, right? And he says something about like amnesty is out the window and stuff like that.
Amnesty and pardon go out the window.
And Dom replies, I might be paraphrasing a little bit, those words went out the day we were born.
Yes.
Brutal line. Brutal.
I don't even understand it. And Nora and I paused it and we're like, what? What's he talking about?
Dom, you've been trying to get a pardon for 4 straight movies, man. Every movie starts with you setting up a deal for amnesty or pardon.
Such a weird line, JD. But
totally.
What were you, JD? Be honest with me. At least the first time you watched this, surprised by the Riley Hicks turn.
I was actually.
I was too.
I was pretty surprised.
I don't think they gave us a lot of breadcrumbs on that one at all. Like, why are we to believe she was corrupt? I didn't see anything unless I'm missing it.
I think the only clues at all are is that when Brian visits Braga in prison, he does say something along the lines of, think about it. He's got somebody feeding him information.
Yeah, true.
He says that.
True.
No idea who it could be. And the only other thing that could even possibly be a tip-off is at one point, Riley, like, suggests where they should go.
Right.
Who cares? Like, that's what it's like, okay, so somebody in the crew of 10 people is making a suggestion. It's called brainstorming. You should probably try that when you're trying to save the entire world. To me, that was not enough to know that she was going to be the one who flips.
Interesting. So you don't think it was earned that she flipped? It was
not
just,
totally.
Yeah.
Not really.
I was fine with it. I was surprised. I was like, ooh, didn't see that coming, But it's soap opera. I'm now fully into the soap opera mode and just what's gonna happen next? What twist and turn do you have for me? I loved when they reveal to Brian that Mia has been captured, and they're like, maybe you should call.
Oh yeah.
Mia. And then he calls, and literally all she says is, Brian! And that's it. That was enough, right? I mean, I'm like, my wife, whenever I call her, or I will randomly hear, Jason! How do I get my Bluetooth working? Like, it's just like, that's not enough. It's not enough to assume that your wife has been kidnapped. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
Right. And do I have it right that there's that part where Mia hands Jack over to Alina to escape? Yes. Right. So it's just Mia who's captured.
Mm-hmm.
That's
right.
correct.
But inexplicably, why didn't Mia go along? I didn't get that. Like, I guess she was like, you take Jack, protect Jack.
Yeah.
And I'll just offer myself up so that Jack can get
buy
away.
you some time.
I
Yeah,
guess,
maybe. But next time, go over that wall first. Let Alina hand you Jack.
Yes.
Though she's a cop, who knows? Okay,
She's got a gun. She could, hold them off.
Hold
while
them off
she makes
more.
her escape, I guess.
That's true.
Someone once said, if you look good, you feel good. And if you feel good, you play good. Wise words, because the right outfit can bring out something special in all of us. And with Indochino, creating your best look yet could be more affordable than you think. Indochino offers completely custom-fitted suits, shirts, casual wear, and more at surprisingly affordable prices. Every piece is made to your exact measurements, and you can customize every detail. I recently ordered a pair of chinos with pleats and cuffs for that preppy 80s look. Ideal with a pair of penny loafers, but maybe you're not feeling the take Ivy approach. No problem, because with Indochino, you get to choose everything about your custom johns. We're talking fabrics, lapels, monograms, statement linings, and more. Starting at just $399, Indochino suits include all those customizations to get you looking good on your terms at an affordable price. And you can do it all online if you want to. Nice! But Indochino is also open at select Nordstrom stores, giving you even more ways to get great fitting, personalized clothing. Find your nearest location at Indochino.com, and right now, you can get $50 off any purchase of $399 or more by using code NODUNKS at checkout. That's $50 off a purchase of $399 or more at INDOCHINO.com with promo code NODUNKS.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Check out betterhelp.com/nodunks. Life is pretty stressful right now, more so than it's ever been for a lot of people. Whether that's jobs, relationships, money, anything really. You may be feeling a little bit down and your temper may be a little bit shorter than usual. It's really important that you can unload and get that stress out and talk to somebody who's completely unbiased about anything to do with your life. Somebody who's not going to judge you or what you say or even take sides on anything. And sometimes you can't tell anybody, but it's important that you find somebody who you can talk to. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Unload the stresses and get some unbiased feedback. You'd be pretty surprised at what you might gain from it. See if it's for you. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and No Dunks listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/nodunks. That's betterhelp.com/nodunks. BETTERHELP.com/nodunks.
So, to keep us going here, we got to go get Shaw again. Man, what a move by this guy. He is playing chess. So Shaw's group, they board a moving gigantic aircraft. This thing is huge and it said this in the Wikipedia write-up for this movie, and I laughed. They board this gigantic aircraft on an exceptionally long runway.
Oh, yeah.
It said that. It said that. And I couldn't believe it was on the Wikipedia page as Dom's crew gives chase to him. And we say this because there's going to be like a 13-minute runway chase at the now end of this movie. Mm-hmm. And if it was actually true, the runway would be an estimated 18 miles long. And JD, I know your brother is a pilot.
Yeah.
Maybe he can fact check me on this. I think the longest runway in the world is maybe 3 to 5 miles. Like, it's still long, but it's not 18 miles long because they are on this runway this entire scene. They're there, they're driving, then they're up, then they're down, then they're up, then they're down. It's like, it's pretty hilarious. But yeah, that is in the Wikipedia write-up. Exceptionally long runway.
Accurate.
That is very accurate.
Yes.
It's they could have easily finished the runway and then just jumped onto a highway and then we're fine, right?
Yeah.
And then it's believable again.
Yeah, because that plane is so big, it could go through any like chain link fence.
Right.
I mean, I guess the budget goes up like even tenfold if you're going to take this scene into a city.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm saying just a country like a straits or a desert highway or something that goes on for 18 miles. But it's. I had a lot of problems with this whole sequence. I mean,
the final set piece. There's a lot going on here,
and all of it is totally unnecessary. Like totally unnecessary in my book, but. There's still some spectacular stuff. I mean, this is how I felt. I mean, we've all been there when we go out to dinner and we fill up on appetizers, and the appetizers are great, and then all of a sudden the fucking main course comes, and you're just like, no.
Oh, and it's huge too, and you're looking at it, and you're like,
and it's not as good as the rest of the appetizers, right? And that's how this movie felt. I was just like, I'd had enough. I was just like. I was in Laurie Artinian mode with the lights were down and the music, the audio was cranked. I was just bombastic, and I was like, okay, 90 minutes was good, but another half hour of this, oh my God.
I could not agree more. And we are now forever calling appetizers tanks and the main giant planes.
Tanks and planes.
Tanks and planes. What are we doing here? We just getting tanks? We gonna share tanks? All right, good. I don't feel like a giant plane either. Especially down here in the States. The planes are bigger here in the States. Okay, so the specifics, and I'm going to fly through these, and Trey, you can touch on anyone you want. But we get Dom, Letty, and Brian. They board the plane. Brian rescues Mia. They escape, I think. The plane attempts to take off, but it's held down, I think, by the excess weight as the rest of the team have tethered the plane to their vehicle. They're like, this worked for a tank? Sort of, it's going to work for a giant plane. Giselle sacrifices herself to save Han from Shaw's henchmen. She shoots him because he's about to kill Han from behind. Letty kills Riley because they have that fight, and she escapes with Hobbs to safety. I think I have that right. That's right. But Dom then pursues Shaw in that computer chip. And as the plane crashes finally into the ground after 18 miles of driving, Shaw is thrown from it, and Dom drives a Charger out of the nose of the exploding plane.
Right.
I think I have that right, or I really should say I think Wikipedia has that right, and whatever I sort of sprinkled in there. Trey, your thoughts on the final set piece here with the giant plane, or any of the specific sort of battles going on here?
Well, not only is that too big of a meal to eat after you've had some delicious appetizers, too many ingredients, I would say, as well. To me, the whole does not equal the sum of the parts here, because there are some incredible moments. We talked about Dom's flying headbutt, which is a hilarious moment. There's some great fighting scenes in here. You've got Dom fighting Shaw. Hobbs is fighting the huge guy. Eventually, they team up together, the two of them, side by side. This is when Vin and The Rock still liked each other, so I'm there for that. I'm loving it. Eventually, Dom lifts the huge guy up for Hobbs to clothesline.
Oh, yeah.
And then they give each other a couple of sup guys, That's
like Legion of Doom move that was.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. We also do see one of the most gruesome deaths in Fast and Furious so far, when Letty blasts Riley out the window with a harpoon.
Yeah.
I was like, that's maybe the worst death so far that we've seen. Wrong team, bitch. Ugh. I didn't like that Giselle had to die. I mean, at least she did it sacrificing her life for Han, but...
Wait. Why is she dead? Why is she dead?
Totally, yeah. It's...
again,
honestly,
she could just be injured. She could just be injured.
We didn't see her actually die. She fell, of course, from that vehicle. But I don't know, JD. She could come back in a couple movies, right?
The only reason I don't think she does is because she went on to star as Wonder Woman. But I mean, that's the only evidence that I have.
But maybe she comes back, JD, touches a spark plug, and that turns her into Wonder Woman.
Oh, I like it. And it was another one of those moments. It happened last movie where Vince dies. He's shot. Dom does nothing to try to save him. No direct pressure, nothing. We get to the end of the runway. Granted, it's 18 miles, but still, Han's like, Well, she's gone.
Yeah.
She's just gone.
Go check at least.
Fucking drive back, maybe. Maybe there's a chance. I mean, it's possible. Not likely, but it's possible.
I agree.
At least follow up.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody in this series is too quick to be like, that person's dead. And if anything we've learned, it takes a lot to kill somebody. So they're more likely they're alive. Yeah, they just got shot in the chest or run over or flipped 100 times or fell from an extreme height. But it's more likely in this world that they're alive. So go check on them.
Totally.
Yeah, I guess she is dead because she is now turned into Wonder Woman. I'm with you, Trey. It was a lot going on. The whole Mia Brian part. I think Brian throws. Is it this scene where he does throw a flying Superman punch again though?
Yep.
Which is great. It's like, yes, that was your cool move.
There's one thing about Brian and Mia's part where they take out the ramp car, right? By going backwards over it. Did I get that right? Like he reverses the car, goes over, and then it just crashes into a wall. But somehow that was him finally beating this ultimate weapon, right? Like the weapon was now, he found the weak spot, which is just go drive over it backwards, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Can't flip going backwards.
I guess. I don't know. But really, really weird part. Again, that part of it was totally unnecessary. An unnecessary part to an unnecessary scene in my mind. But yeah.
Yeah, and I will say, like, the tethering to the plane with these cars, I was so confused. And I know none of this is believable. We've said it a million times, but like, I was like, come on, the cars, they're being lifted at some points in the air. They would be like, they'd be spinning around. They somehow always stay like sort of like, well, if we go back down, we can still drive, right? We're good. Yeah. So
my understanding was, to defend them a little here, I think that they were going for the flaps, right? They were trying to harpoon the flaps. They do say the flaps a couple times. Them down.
Yes.
And if they can't get the flaps going, then the plane's not going to take off.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess. I mean.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah,
watch your flaps.
But at times that plane was in the air, right? Like it was getting a little bit.
For the whole second half of the chase, I think it was in the air.
Yeah.
At least partially.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Hobbs jumps back out, he's like, okay, I'm done fighting. I'm going to go back in the Jeep now.
Yeah.
He jumps back. The plane is in the air. And then he's like, okay, Letty, it's your turn now. And she's like, what? Are you serious? And then she just goes, I guess. But can you imagine? Like, if I'm on the roof of my house here and I'm like, there one floor, two grass, and I can bend my knees, tuck and roll, I'm like, I'll be up there for an hour and a half, hesitating, like, I don't know about this. It was a sunny day where, put a trampoline down there. I'm still hesitating. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, but you're jumping into a Jeep with two guys already in it and seats. Like, what? And you're on a plane. Like, you're going like 20.
You're also, he's as big as the Jeep.
Right.
He's a giant human. Again, this is not the I forget the guy's name, the character's name in Ocean's 11 that they put in the bank vault because he can trapeze around, fly around. Like it's almost like the guy that can go on American Ninja Warrior and win. Okay, I could sort of maybe see them talking themselves out of jumping from 30 feet. Not The Rock. The Rock is going to squash the two guys and the vehicle.
We saw him botch a jump earlier in this movie. He leapt onto a car and fell right off.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he looked out the plane. He's like, is there any parking garages around here? Might hit an
Coast
arm.
is clear.
No, we're good. Okay, gone. There's a lot going on. And then the ending, like I said, is Dom driving out of the nose of the plane, exploding. You're like, for a second, you're like, oh God, Dom's dead. And no one for a second thinks that because he can't even get a scar on him unless it was from body surfing. But otherwise, here he comes. He bursts out.
Well, hold on.
It wasn't as cool as the tank to me, I gotta say. But go ahead.
No, definitely not. But also, he jumps out of the nose of the plane, but then flips the Charger, and then, as I understood it, gets consumed in the wreckage of the plane, goes over him, right?
Yeah, right.
Because
right.
then he walks out
walks
of the
around.
flames, Terminator style.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like he went back to get the chip out of the burning wreckage. I mean,
Yeah.
and that scene did look. It was right out of Terminator when the Terminator comes out of the flames. He just had his skin still on, unlike the Terminator. So he's stronger than the Terminator.
Hey, look, facts. He's faster and stronger than Superman and can fly better. And now he's stronger than the Terminator, like you said. It goes on and on with Dom. We're learning every day here that he really is a superhero, that he's touched a spark plug at some point in his life. Trey, anything else to add to the... we'll get to the everybody reuniting, but from this final scene here, the big set piece.
What have we not covered, man? I think we've covered basically everything I would have to say about this, except for that I think the story goes that Justin Lin said he came up with the idea for this plane chase for Fast 5, and the first image he had in his mind was of Dom driving his car through a flaming plane. And you can kind of tell that that's how the scene came about.
Sure,
They're like,
right.
we just had to have some kick-ass visuals here. A car driving out of an exploding plane. That's pretty cool. How do we make it happen? Well, I don't know. How about an 18-mile runway?
Yeah.
Fire it up. And that to me was just like, what kind of crazy ideas can we put in here rather than trying to figure out how to make the scene make sense? Because I also feel like it loses a lot being shot in the dark. Like, it's hard to follow. The plane is gigantic. The runway is forever. So the cars are probably going fast. The cars are probably going 100 miles an hour, but it doesn't feel like it at all to me. It feels like they could be going 30 miles an hour just as easily. The scale of it and being shot in the dark, I don't know. If it's just to get Dom driving his car out of the exploding plane and having it look awesome, to me it's not totally worth it. It would have been cooler to actually see things that are going on.
And, we keep making fun of Dom being a superhero, which is definitely true. Everybody else is Spider-Man, too. The way they can hold on to a vehicle is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all of them. They just have, suction cup hands and feet. And they're strong enough to just always be holding on to the vehicle, unless you got to grab your gun to shoot a guy like Giselle does to save Han there.
And that was a spectacular shot. I just want to say that, her death scene, that shot of her just letting go, firing the gun, and just disappearing into the blackness was very, very cool looking for sure. Mm-hmm. And I think and then you get the shot of Han going, reacting to her making the sacrifice. I enjoyed that.
Okay. We still really don't know if Giselle is dead, just to throw that in, because this is the Fast and Furious franchise. But is Owen Shaw dead? Because we don't see him die. I know what's going to happen here in the old mid-credits scene that we're going to get to is a family member, because family is everything. You actually lied, it turns out, is going to come into play, but is he dead? I'm trying to read TK's face.
He's not.
He's literally nodding.
He's not.
I mean, this is not a big spoiler. He shows up pretty early in Fast 7. He's not doing well. I'll say that. He's not dead, but he's not doing well. He's not a big factor anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, then Giselle must be alive.
That's exactly. He went through way more than Giselle
You make a good point.
Yeah.
I'm not ruling her out coming back for Fast 10 at this point, now that you've mentioned it.
Wow.
Oh my God. Okay, so we got the chip. Way to go, Dom. You are the hero. You are the Terminator. Dom reunites with his crew. Oh, I guess this is where he says the line. Is this where he says the 1327 line?
Name your price.
Yeah. And I was so proud of myself. I was like, that's the house address. Matty O has been there. He's seen it. I said it. I was like, boom.
He's
called
seen
it. Yep.
Beautiful.
So Dom reunites with his crew and gives the chip. Sorry, that's the part there on the tarmac. So they get their pardons. Dom and the others return to his old family home in LA, 1327. You get a little shot of the address just to drive it home, where Dom and his crew have a gathering to share a meal. I was a little disappointed there was no quick scene of somebody shooting a basketball. I think they took the net down off the side of the house there. But Hobbs and Alina arrive to confirm the crew's freedom. Yep, we did the paperwork. Checks out. You guys are good.
That's how it works, huh?
Yeah.
Just an agent shows up. So you're all free. No hearings. We're not going to bring you into a courtroom. We're not going to do any paperwork. Just we're stopping by to let you know it's all good.
Yeah, it's like
don't
they
think I
came
would trust
back
them.
into the States on a like a visitor visa, basically, and then they got their paperwork through immigration to that they could stay, and they were fine. They were partying anyway. They're back at their house. They're sharing a meal, which there are some funny parts. Hobbs, like I said, and Elena there, they confirm it. And then Elena accepts that Dom loves Letty. This is the big, well, not big. We said it. It was super quick. She's like, oh, man, you're in love with Letty. You've sort of, I guess re-triggered her. Not even re-triggered her memories. I guess her memory never does come back.
No, it doesn't.
She just falls in love with him.
Feels like home.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but that you could look at that as like, this is right.
Sure.
And so... wow, she really falls in love with him twice in her life. That's pretty
crazy.
Pretty crazy. 3 times if you count real life.
Good point. It's a very good point.
What a weird thing. Anyway, some great stuff here because we get the Roman part where he starts to eat, which is amazing that Han doesn't start to eat first. Like he's always eating, but I think
he's grieving. To be fair.
He is grieving, yeah, that's true. He's sucking back a Corona. Yeah, Brian, I think, calls out Roman. Oh, you ate. You got to now say grace. This is a great callback. He starts it by saying, thank you for the gathering of friends. I don't know why that part killed me. And then goes on to have a nice little, I guess you could say, grace. It reminds me, I think I've shared this story before in the podcast. I don't know why. I guess it was almost... joke. No, you know what? It must have been like a Thanksgiving or something. It was with friends, and somebody started grace with thanks for the blessings, or thank you for the blessings, and it's great. And it was like basically it. That was sort of it. All right, let's eat.
Yeah.
My
Thank you
favorite
for fast cars is my favorite.
Oh yeah, that was
favorite
good.
line of Roman's prayer.
I forgot about that.
Thank you for fast cars.
We also have I think I laughed the hardest at this scene of this entire movie. Dom and Hobbs standing what I can only describe as side by side,
Yeah, man.
facing opposite directions.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody took note of this.
Weird. So weird.
Why? What was the thinking with that blocking, JD? What's the reason, man? You're a director. What's the story trying to tell us? They're on even ground, but you would be on even ground. Well, maybe you're. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, honestly, I have no idea what that was about. I would almost say like, because it looks cool, but it didn't look cool.
No.
It looked weird and awkward, and I was wondering what is going on here. Is he whispering in his ear? Is it sort of like I don't know. I have no idea if it was supposed to, symbolize something. If it was a metaphor for. Like you say, like we're on even ground now, or I'm going this way, you're going that way. Who knows? Who knows? It was weird. It was very distracting. Very distracting.
Yeah.
But-
Trey, anything that you can come up with to make them stand like that while they talk to each other for the final scene of this movie? Yeah.
No, it was all caps. Why aren't they looking at each other? For me in the notes, it's like either have them facing each other, talking to each other, or if they don't want to look at each other, fine. Like have them standing side by side. Like can't stand to look each other in the face, but it just looked like they were standing in the wrong spots to me.
Yeah.
Such a weird scene.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, you have The Rock turn around because he's leaving anyway, and then you have The Rock, both of them facing the camera, one, and then you rack the focus. That would have made more sense, even though nobody talks like that, but it would be less distracting as a theater goer, like...
I just don't understand why they weren't standing side by side or face to face.
Weird.
Like everybody else talks to. Like face to face, 99% of the time. Okay, 1% standing just shoulder to shoulder because they're at a party and they're looking at everything and taking it all in. It's like two dads at a birthday party that we can still talk to each other. We can turn our heads and talk to each other about how great is it that this guy Lee brought this big slide over here. It's amazing. The kids love it, don't they? Yeah. But yeah, that way no one ever stands that way. And they're like, they're lined up perfectly. It's weird. But that's basically the movie after, Everybody's sitting down and eating and family
Well,
back
we
together.
get one more great part. Dom offers Elena to stay, like to stick around, which I thought was very weird. But even weirder was her response that her family is the police. She worked for the police for 2 months.
Yeah.
Left to go live with an international jet-setting criminal for a week, and now she's going back. We know she's the only incorruptible cop in all of Rio. That's your family? Like, I know that you're not going to be with Dom, but... And it would be awkward to stick around, I do think, but going back to work for the police, I do not think is an option for her.
Yeah. That
JD,
felt
yeah.
that totally felt wrong and weird, but I don't know. I guess the next movie we're gonna see her as a cop, maybe.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, they should have almost just taken her out of the ending. Like, I know we would have been left going like, where is she? Is she
Right.
okay and everything? But like, worry about that in the next either short that you guys do, or she gets a 20-minute short about what she's doing in Brazil, or some line in the next movie. Like that part. We get it. Letty's back. She's with Dom. It's fine. I don't think anyone would have been all that upset. Like, oh, how dare you, Dom? Leave your Brazilian cop behind after 1 week. Okay, we would have understood, but she's there. They wrap it up. Peace. So, in a mid-credit scene, once again, baby, Han, he's involved in a car crash. Oh, did it look familiar? We are in Tokyo Drift. Suddenly broadsided by an oncoming car, and the driver walks away after leaving Letty's cross necklace by the crash. Calls Dom, saying, Dominic Toretto, you don't know me, but you're about to. As Han's car explodes, apparently killing Han. Apparently. Yeah. So this is our reveal of another Shaw. I was so confused, I gotta admit, when we saw Owen Shaw. I'm like, that's not the guy I thought that was Shaw.
Right.
But then again, I thought the guy, Jason Statham, I thought him being Shaw was Dom's brother, and I think I'm wrong about that because his brother was Shaw. Anyway, it's Jason. Here he is, and he will be playing a part as these movies go on. JD, we'll ask you, how excited were you to see the reveal here, this mid-credit scene?
Yeah, I love Jason Statham. I love a British gangster too.
Yep.
You know, like it's just they're just cool. They're the coolest gangsters in the world. I mean, I think. I mean, for me, I just love the. I just love the swagger, the accents. He's got that great Cockney accent, and he's going to be a great villain. So I was pumped, and he's such a big name, and it was a great, like they brought, what was it, Eva Mendes last time, and then we revealed, like, it's just stars. So are we going to see a huge star now every cutscene, like introducing the next villain or person? Hopefully. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah, I guess what I was surprised with, like, I knew the whole Han thing, of course, was coming, that he was going to die, air quotes, but be blown up. But I guess I didn't see the necklace playing a part. Once again, here it is. My
necklace,
God.
baby.
This necklace is truly invincible. Cannot be crushed or defeated or ruined anyway. But yes, Trey. In fact, you know what, Trey? We're going to do something differently here. Take this mid-credit scene and sort of spin us in to what to expect for the next movie. And then we'll do our fast and our furious parts of the podcast. But yeah, take it from this mid-credit scene and get us hyped for number 7.
Well, y'all are very correct to be excited that Jason Statham shows up. Jason Statham is awesome, and he becomes a factor in the Fastiverse, no doubt, starting in Fast 7. As you know, it spins off into Hobbs and Shaw. 2 characters who were added in the back half of the franchise are now getting their own spin-off movie, so you know he's going to bring it. That being said, get your cleanies ready for Furious 7.
Oh boy, yeah.
Not only is Fast and Furious 7 the most highly rated of all of the Fast movies, it's also the saddest because it's Paul Walker's last film appearance after his tragic death. You're going to get a whole bunch of new characters. There's a bunch of great action in this one, some really interesting locations, but it's really all about Brian/Paul. And it's legitimately touching. It's legitimately pulling on your heartstrings in the final act of this movie.
Okay. And I think even at least the release date got pushed back, of course, because of Paul Walker's real life death. It was supposed to come out a little bit earlier. I read that actually that's why, or maybe not why, but they did go with another director. They wanted a quicker turnaround, I think, JD, between this one, which obviously did really well, and then Seven. And that was maybe a part of why they went with another director. But then, of course, ultimately what happens is Paul Walker's death, and it gets pushed back sort of to that. What I think is like another, they've been up to like usually like a 2-year window between the movies, and I think they wanted it to go like a year after. They wanted to like really capitalize on the success, but anyway, it gets pushed back a little bit.
Did he die during production, like of
Trey?
Fast 7?
I remember them saying there was going to be like issues with like how are they going to like film things. Do I have that right?
I think it was like mostly finished, I think the movie was, and they had to go back and do some rewrites and some reshoots, and there are a bunch of scenes where they're like digitally putting Paul Walker's face and him acting through stuff on his younger real life brothers are like playing the Brian character, but now it's Paul Walker's face on their face, on their face. So they definitely had to change stuff, and the ending, you can tell, has changed to address what happened in real life.
Okay. All right, well, that is, what's that one going by again? What are they just calling it? Fast and Furious 7 or Furious 7? I can't remember anymore, but it's the 7th movie.
The 7th one.
Franchise. Yeah, the 7th one. Okay, so, The Fast. This is the part of the podcast where you guys share your favorite scene, your favorite car, your favorite quote, whatever you want. Trey, we'll start with you.
All right, we've talked about a lot of my favorite scenes already. My favorite action scene in this is the first action scene showdown with Shaw in London with the flipping car. You see all of the extra cool technological things he has. I love the slow-mo, oh shit, when Brian gets flipped over. I love that scene. It feels like a major level up for the villain. We touched on Dom and Letty having an actually great smoldering chemistry during their street race scene. We talked about the superhero levels. The only thing we haven't hit on, there's 2 great fist fights, I think. In this movie. Michelle Rodriguez as Letty, Gina Carano as Riley. That's a great fight.
Good.
Because that's like a legitimately well choreographed, fun fight. Like they can both fight. They're flying over stuff. That one feels like a savage brawl to me. And then at the same time, you've got the funny fight happening. Han and Roman against, I think his name is Ja, a martial artist guy who is in the raid. And like, he's just kicking their ass to the point that they're giving up. I thought that was great. I thought the fighting in the first scene was great. And I thought the comedy of having these 2 guys who clearly don't know how to fighting against a guy who is a professional at it at the same time.
Yeah, I'm glad you slipped that in. I had that in my notes too here. JD, you love that one.
Yeah, saying that's what I had as well. It's a great scene, and I love that they're happening simultaneously. And that stunt, I mean, there's just so many great stunts, but this one was definitely real when the 2 women fall down the steps of the tube, like they, like Gina Carano, she basically dives onto Letty, and they fly down this set of stairs. I mean, there's stunt people, obviously, but just spectacular. It's just a spectacular fight scene. I loved it.
Do you have a favorite other scene, JD, or car or quote?
I mean, we've touched on most of the things. I did love it when Tej's phone rings and it's The Rock calling, and he has it as his contact, Samoan Thor.
Yeah, that's funny.
It was great.
He in this movie, I read in the classic trivia part of IMDb, Hobbs has mocked The Rock 3 times as a different member of the Avengers in this movie.
Oh, really?
He's verbally referred to as the Hulk, Captain America, and then the third one, the one you said on the cell phone there, as Samoan Thor. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
I also loved just a quick line, quote, after that crazy, intense first chase scene, like the next line said by an actor is Roman, it's Tyrese, going, "This is crazy." That sums it up perfectly. It's like, yeah, you're right, Roman. This is crazy. You have a favorite quote, Trey, before we move to the Furious?
Yeah, I love all of the various dunks on Roman. I love when Giselle and Riley are trying to get information, and Roman's kind of giving Han the business about trying to make Giselle happy. He says, better make sure you get her a big rock, man, because she doesn't look like she'll be that easily impressed. And if it's not a big rock, you better be big somewhere else. You know what I'm talking about? And Han says, that's why all your girlfriends wear so much bling, huh?
Oh, yeah, that was a great burn.
It's a good one.
Great burn, but maybe not even the best burn on Roman in this. There's a lot of his big forehead jokes. Tej gets a bunch of them in, but the best is right at the end when Hobbs is walking to tell the crew that they're going to be free. Hobbs walks in and Roman says, "Hey, better hide the baby oil." And Hobbs just says right back instantly, "Better hide that big ass forehead." Apparently ad-libbed by The Rock. Just came up with it on the fly. I'm like,
wow.
That's why you hire The Rock, man. He's a great shit talker. Just like that. And apparently, they say Ludacris's reaction is completely legit in that moment. Same with Roman as well. I thought that was a great line. So the jokes at Roman's expense, I thought were great, especially because he's always trying to be the cool ladies' man, and he just gets dunked on the entire time in this movie.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Okay, the Furious part of the podcast, the dumbest scene or other things you just hated. We'll start with you, JD. What made you furious?
Shout out to Stasiak, I mean, listen, Brian is a colossal asshole in this scene, right? What Stasiak is putting his career on the line, sneaking him into prison after he should have bad blood because he got beat up by Brian before, his nose broken and whatever. And then Brian is a complete asshole to him and then beats him up again as he's going in. Like, he didn't have to do that to go into solitary. He could have just picked a fight as soon as he walked into the cafeteria or whatever. But this poor guy. And then after all that, still gets him out. Like, I would have left him there. I would have left Brian there just to rot. Like, honestly.
Sorry, they got you.
Brian is in a desperate situation. He's in a precarious situation. You should be nice to Stasiak. Stasiak has no reason to help you. So there was that. I didn't like that part.
Okay.
I'd also
and as we talked about, sort of like it felt really pointless, that whole thing.
Totally.
Like, what did you really get out of Braga there or whatever in jail? Like,
yeah,
we flew you all the way across the world, I should say, and then got you back in 24 hours. Like, you were relaxing on the plane. You watched Mrs. Doubtfire a couple times. Like, and what did you come back with? Not a lot.
Not much.
Yeah. Sorry, JD. What else you got there?
And the other thing I just wanted to point out is that Hobbs is a terrible cop. Like, awful, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the first scene that we see him in, he beats a suspect for information. I mean, that's not something you should do. He vandalizes a vending machine, right? By shooting it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I still maintain that he sexually assaults that snooty salesman from the car, right?
Sure.
From the car sale. He fails to recognize that he's working alongside a mole that he's been with for weeks. And he doesn't make her, What about all the research?
In fact, he says he's like, "Oh, I like you."
Yeah.
Oh, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, where's your research on that one, Hobbs? He holds a gun to the head of his ally, like the British. He's a bit of I don't know how to describe him. He's a bit of an asshole, I guess. The head of the British forces in Spain.
Oh yeah.
But when he takes the sides of, the Fast and Furious crew, who are criminals, right? Like, why would you just amp it up to 1 million? Like, let's discuss it. We should let them go, man. Not hold a gun to his head. I mean, come on. And there's a bunch of other stuff he does. I mean, and just hiring a band of outlaw civilians whose latest exploits basically destroys Rio, right? I mean, not a good cop. He's not a good cop. I'm hoping that in the coming movies, he just switch sides already. Just be part of the criminals.
Sure. He's still getting a governmental paycheck.
Yeah, I know, but
yeah.
But he could make so much more as a criminal.
It's true. It's true. Okay, so upset with just Hobbs' decision making, or what he gets away with as a cop. Trey, what made you furious?
Well, I just think it's a bummer that the final climactic action scene is the worst of the 3 action scenes.
Yeah.
In this, and that's to me is like, flip it. I mean, what's more impressive, a plane getting pulled down or the tank scene? I don't know. I don't know if you're just thinking through it in your head, but obviously when it plays out, the tank scene is more of a spectacle, I think, than the plane scene. Yeah. And that all comes down to you can just see what's happening. You can actually tell what's happening. There's this one train, and it's destroying everything. They got to stop it. Maybe it's easier to follow because it's a little bit smaller compared to this gigantic plane, but right. I don't know. It was more like, just like we're saying, it was just a little bit overload. And that to me is the main problem with this movie, is that everything else that we've seen action-wise was better than the biggest part of it. And that to me is the biggest failing here.
Yep. Honestly, it's just too long, and that last final set piece is a big part of it, I think. And you said it too, Trey, the part where the tank is happening in the daylight, it just helps you follow, and yes, again, it's much smaller than this giant airplane, but that happening at night, I was confused at times with I was just getting confused with who is on the plane, who is now off the plane, who's hanging onto a vehicle off the side of the plane, what side are they on? Like, it was tough to like keep track of all the pieces there. Okay, let's rank this bad boy. And if you've got a final observation, throw it in here. On a scale of 1 to 10, TK, how would you rate Fast and Furious 6? Where does it fall on the leaderboard?
I like this movie. I do like the action scenes. Like we said, Vin does some of his best acting here, but it's not a series highlight for me on par with Fast 1 or Fast 5. Shaw, a great villain. I love seeing the Fast crew lose. I like Dom and Hobbs teaming up while Vin and Dwayne are still buddies. The action, it's nice. The fist fighting is nice. Justin Lin is really giving the people what they want, but just not transcendent to me. I was coming in thinking this was going to be a 7 of 10. Same score I've given Fast 4, and Tokyo Drift. But now having talked through it, I'm a little more down on it than I was thinking. So I'm going to go a 6 of 10 here. I got to update my notes so that I can remember in the future. That now leaves my current rankings as 5, 1, 4, 3, 6, 2.
Okay.
Surprising.
Okay. JD, same 2 questions. How you ranking this one? What are you grading it? And then where does that ultimately fall?
Yeah, I don't know because I challenged myself to come up with a 10 for one of these movies, and I thought we were going to get a 10 out of me, but because I was just having the time of my life watching this movie.
Jeez, wow.
I just loved it. I was just suspend my disbelief. I'm fully submerged in this world, and we're in the superhero game now, and that's my jam, baby. I love a superhero movie, and fine. I'm willing to accept Dominic Toretto as a superhero, and but again, the appetizers were delicious, but the main or the final thing was just too much. So I'm gonna give it a 9.
Wow.
I really had fun. I think I had the right frame of mind. I would just sit down. I want to have fun. I think The Rock was way better in this movie than he was in the previous movie. He's just fell into a groove. He's charming. He's The Rock. I'm giving it a 9. So I've got this is the number 1 movie right now. So
oh my god, I can't believe that.
Fast 6, Tokyo, then 5, then 1, then 4, then Too Fast at the end.
Okay, I can't even remember what I gave all the other movies, so I won't worry you guys with my leaderboard. But this one, I was the opposite of you, JD. I think I was too tired going into this movie.
Yeah.
And that became an issue because this movie is long, and you think it ends like 2 other times, and you're like, I found my mind drifting for the first time. I was back in Tokyo. My mind was drifting through the square, through the streets of Tokyo, because that was a first. I had been locked in this series, guys. Honestly, scene by scene, note taking, really trying my best to just stay engaged off the phone. But this one, I don't know. I think there was some scenes that are a little too much dialogue going on between a couple characters here and there, and I was just thinking of other things I gotta do around the house and stuff like that. And I had to like snap back in, like, what did I miss there? Was it anything important? Now, who cares? The guys will tell me about it. So yeah, that and like for all the other reasons that I don't like it, that you guys said, mainly like that final plane scene, I really could have done without. Some of the lines that were comedy or some of the scenes, a little rough. I'm going to go ultimately a 5.
Wow.
Yes, much lower than you, JD. I don't think this is even close to Fast 5, if I'm being honest.
Really?
I think that's such a better movie. Yeah, like even in this one, I said it, I slipped it in there. A guy like Han, a guy I love. I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's like there's something that it's the shine is worn off a little bit. Maybe it's just because I've seen him in too many movies now here in this back-to-back sort of binge-watching setting. But even Han wasn't that cool to me in this one. It was like, what's going on here? So I liked a lot of parts as we went through it, but ultimately I'm like, this one feels right in the middle to me. I think when it's all said and done, I'm going to be happy with where I place it. Giving it a 5, and we'll see. I'll go back. Yeah, I'm not as high on it as you were, JD, but always a blast talking about it. I'll tell you that. So we'll call it there. Good 2 hours for you.
Oh yeah.
Talking about a very long movie with a very long podcast. I'm such a hypocrite, aren't I? If you're a friend of Fast Friends, keep tweeting in your thoughts at NoDunksInc, INC. If you have questions, email them in, nodunks@theathletic.com. Put Fast Friends in the subject header. And if you haven't already, guys, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, and or make sure you're subscribed to No Dunks on YouTube if you're watching us there. That stuff really helps out the show. Not just Fast Friends, of course, but the No Dunks brand. You know, it's a real nos in our ass, you know?
Yeah.
Helps us boost up some of the rankings and gets the show in front of more people. So we appreciate that. If you've done it already, thank you so much. Okay, guys, Trey already set the table there for 7. Sounds like we might have a different vibe talking about this one, of course, with what happens in real life with Paul Walker. But we get a new character, and we'll see what happens with Fast and Furious 7. Until next week, everybody stay safe.